All right, let's talk about AI. It's creating this brand new economy, literally out of thin air, that's going to be worth trillions. But it raises this huge question. Who actually gets paid?
And to kick things off, just listen to this quote from the legendary entrepreneur Bill Gross. He says the content that feeds these AI engines is being snarfed up, shoplifted, and regurgitated. I mean, wow. He's basically saying the whole foundation of AI is built on our collective knowledge, right? But the people who actually created that knowledge, they're getting completely cut out of the loop. And that, well, that's setting us up for a huge economic battle. So that really gets to the heart of the paradox we're digging into today. You've got this incredible technology that's generating just an insane amount of wealth. And how's it doing it? By using everything we, you, me, everyone have ever written or created. But the system for paying us back for that, it's just not there. It's broken. So what do we do about it? Okay, let's start by unpacking this paradox. Because before we can even talk about solutions, we've got to get our heads around just how massive this whole thing is, both the opportunity and, the problem. The big thinkers in this space, they don't see AI as just another app or some new piece of software. No way. They call it an Archimedes lever. Remember that from school? Give me a lever long enough and I shall move the world. That's what they think AI is, a force so powerful it can literally lift and reshape the entire $100 trillion global economy. We're talking about a fundamental shift. So the question is, where does all this value actually come from? Well, Bill Gross has this really fascinating way of breaking it down. He says there are basically three huge engines that are going to drive this new economy. And here it is. He calls it the do, heal, share framework. It's a great way to think about it, kind of like a map for this new world. Do is all about physical stuff. Heal is about our health. And share? Well, share is all about how we divide up the money. Let's break down each one. First up, do. This is where AI literally gets a physical body. Think about it. We're taking all that brain power that lives in the cloud and putting it into actual robots. Robots that can move around in the real world and do things, fold your laundry, help out with elder care, work on a factory line. It's about digitizing physical labor itself. And Eric Jeng from 1X Technologies has this amazing way of putting it. He says the home robot is going to be a smartphone with legs. I love that. It's not just a fancy Roomba that does one thing. It's a platform, it's general purpose, and you can constantly upgrade it with new skills, just like you download new apps for your phone. And get this. This is the real game changer. 1X Technologies is planning to offer their Android, Neo, for a monthly subscription. How much? $499 a month. Just think about that. It completely changes the economics of labor from a salary you pay a person to a low fixed operating cost. Okay, now look at these numbers. That $499 for the robot, compare that to a minimum wage worker, which is over $1,200 a month, or a home care worker, which can be $4,000. This creates what's called labor arbitrage. It's a massive economic incentive to switch. And here's the scary part. It could put a ceiling on human wages. Why pay a person more when the robot costs just under $500 a month?
All right, the second engine is heal, and this one is just as huge, if not bigger. This is all about applying AI to the insane complexity of our own biology. And the goal here isn't just about curing diseases after we get them. It's about moving from sick care to actual health care. What if we could extend our healthy lifespan not by years, but by decades? That would unlock what's being called a longevity dividend. Trillions in economic value, sure, but more importantly, just more healthy time to be human.
So do and heal are all about creating all this new value. But the third pillar, share, this is where things get really interesting. This is where the fight happens. It's the battle over who gets all the money that this revolution creates. Think about how the internet has worked for the last, 20 years? There was this unspoken deal, right? People like you and me, we create content for free, and in return, the big platforms send us traffic, which we turn into ad money. But these new AI answer engines, they completely shatter that deal. They just give you the answer. You never have to click the original link. And this zero-click world is basically strangling the open web, cutting off its main source of income. And here's the thing. This isn't just a matter of being unfair to creators. It's actually a huge problem for the AI companies themselves. It's totally unsustainable. I mean, if you stop paying creators, what happens? They stop creating. The river of fresh, human-made data dries up, and then the AIs are forced to train on their own AI-generated garbage. It's like a snake eating its own tail. The experts call it model collapse, and it means the AI literally starts getting dumber and dumber over time. Okay, so with this pretty massive threat on the horizon, we're starting to see solutions pop up. And the first one is a market-based fix. Think of it like fair trade coffee, but for data. And the guy leading the charge is the same person we heard from at the start, Bill Gross.
He started a company called ProRata.ai, and their whole mission is to build a new set of rules for the AI economy. The core idea is actually really simple. Your data, my data, all the content we create, it's a form of labor. It's digital work. And like any work, it deserves to be paid.
So how does it work technically? Well, they've built something called a GIST attribution engine. Basically, when an AI spits out an answer, this engine scans it, figures out where all the key pieces of information originally came from, it traces it back to the source, and then, this is the key part, it automatically splits whatever money was made on that answer 50-50 with the original creators. Pretty neat, right? But what if we took a step back and thought even bigger? I mean, much bigger. That brings us to a second and way more radical idea. What if, instead of paying people for specific little bits of data, we just paid everyone a dividend, just for being human, for providing the raw material, our language, our culture, that these AIs are built on top of? Believe it or not, the inspiration for this comes from a tiny little island called Anguilla. Their internet domain is .ai. And because of the AI boom, they've had this massive, completely accidental windfall of cash. It's funding almost half their government now. It's like an accidental test run for universal basic income. So now, a project called IA.xyz wants to do the same thing, but on purpose and for the whole world, using the domain .ia.
So why .ai? Well, IA is how you say AI in Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian. We're talking about over 1 billion people in the Romance languages who are often kind of left out of the very English-focused AI conversation. So the idea is to create this digital toll booth on the internet highway that we all built. Every single AI agent out there would need a .ia domain to operate, kind of like a digital passport. And even a tiny fee for that passport, times billions or trillions of agents, could create an unbelievable amount of revenue. And the core economic idea here is really powerful. It's that bits multiply faster than atoms. The human population grows, but pretty slowly. The population of AI agents, on the other hand, can explode exponentially. So even if you charge a tiny, tiny fee for each one, when you multiply that by potentially trillions of agents, well, you could theoretically have enough money to pay for a global basic income. It's an incredible vision, right? Infinite digital agents paying for a human dividend. But there's a catch, and it's a big one. This beautiful digital dream runs smack into a very hard, very physical wall. And this chart shows it perfectly. It's called the atom bottleneck. That steep pink line, that's the dream. The exponential growth of AI software, the bits. But that flat black line, that's reality. That's the much slower linear growth of the physical stuff you need to run it all. The power plants, the server farms, the microchips, the atoms. And that growing gap between them, that's the reality check. It puts a hard limit on how big this agent economy can actually get and how much of a dividend it could really pay. So, this all leaves us with a massive choice to make about our future. Which path do we take? Do we build a future where AI pays us for what we create, a kind of capitalist fix? Or do we build one where AI pays us simply because we exist, more of a social dividend? There's no easy answer, but whichever one we choose is going to define, well, pretty much everything about the world we're about to live in.